Welcome to the Dog Mom Knits podcast, episode 10, double digits. It's pretty exciting. My name is Amanda, and I'm coming to you from coastal Virginia, where I live with my husband, Shawn, and our 3 dogs, Bandit, Copper, and Finley. This is a knitting podcast where I talk about all my knitting adventures, and it's summer vacation, so I actually have adventures. Actually have things to share with you guys. I'm so excited. You can find me on Instagram as Dog Mom Knits, on Ravelry as Dog Mom Knits 08, and we have an email address for this podcast, and that is dogmomknits@gmail.com. My Ravelry project page and all the shops, podcasts, etc. that I talk about will be in the Dropbox down below. If I forget anything, please send me an email and I will happily answer any and all of your questions. So today, episode 10. So fun. It is June 13th. It's a Monday. I'm doing something different with my hair today. I got little pigtails going. I don't know what made me decide to do that. But it's Monday, June 13th. It's, 11 something in the morning. And I am a teacher on summer vacation. So good. Feels so good. I love my students. I've said that multiple times. Let me just say that again. I love my students. I love my job. I love my school. I love my coworkers. I love everything about it, including summer vacation. This year was difficult. I think most years are, especially since COVID, but, yeah, it was time. It was time for a break. So so this video is going to be my mid-month recap, like I usually do, but I'm going to be talking about my kind of summer goals because I don't work during the summer. This summer's I've got something going on that's going to, I actually don't know how it's going to affect my knitting time. It's either going to give me more knitting time or less. We're going to have to wait and see how that works out. I'll talk about that later in life and news. But yeah, I thought I'd share with you guys what I've been working on, my summer goals, etc. So, it is still morning, so I have my coffee. I don't know if this is going to, be legible, but it says nothing stands between a girl and her coffee. I love this coffee mug. I got it from a student maybe 7 years ago now. I love how big it is. I love that it's really thick, so it keeps my coffee nice and warm. So grab your drink of choice and let's start talking knitting. So last week I posted a video on the channel. It was my bonus content whips parade. That was really fun to Copper and Finley are playing like right here next, or you can't even see where I just pointed, right there. So I'm anticipating some dog noise this episode. I thought, I'll just record in the morning and they'll just sleep through the podcast. And that's a great idea until 3 seconds before I went to hit record and Finley woke up. And yeah, she's wide awake and ready to play. So we'll see how much of this has to be trimmed based on the activity that's happening right in there. So I recorded what I called my whips parade. I went through all of the whips, everything that I had on the needles, and I decided whether I was going to keep it or frog it. And if I frogged it, what was I going to do with the yarn? And so if you haven't watched that video, please go watch, because I'm going to kind of refer to it a little bit here in this video, because my goals for the summer kind of directly came from that video. There is also a giveaway on that video, the Guy Who Sews bag and a skein of yarn from Desert Vista Dye Works. So if you haven't watched and entered, just a heads up, I'm going to leave that open until probably Sunday or Monday, this coming Sunday or Monday. So what would that be? The 19th and 20th? I'm looking for my phone that I'm talking to and recording on. Hello. Welcome to summer vacation, where the days don't matter and brain cells are not necessary. It's a good thing. Okay. So I think it's the 17th. No, sorry. I think it's the 18th and 19th. Or 19th and 20th. Anyway, I'll put it here when that's going to close. But if you haven't entered, I would love it if you did. Because I want to bless somebody with a bag and some yarn. So while I was making that video, a lot of my kind of goals for the summer became apparent to me as I was going through that video, and I was like, okay, these are the things that I want to get off the needles. These are the projects I really want to do. These are the projects that I don't care about anymore. So again, that's all going to be kind of referenced here in this video. I do have my notebook down here. That's what I keep looking at. So if you watched my Whips Parade, you saw this page. This was the kind of final tally of, my sock whips and my other whips, what was staying, what was going, frogging, staying and frogging. And then from that, I made a more specific to June schedule. So one of the things that I had decided quite a while ago is that I wanted to bring back out and actively work on my coziest memory blanket, because I started this in the summer of 2020. And then when that next school year, when the 2020-2021 school year started, I haven't worked on it at all since August of 2020. And that was one of the things that I was like, okay, I really want to bring that back out. I really want to be intentional. I have all these scraps. I've been saving them in the same bucket so that I could put them in my coziest memory blanket. I need to just do it. And so that was the first goal that I set for myself. And I set that a month ago, maybe a long time ago, quite a while ago. And so the idea is that the first thing I knit in the morning is a square on my coziest memory blanket. I'm going to, sorry if you guys can hear that. They have found paper. All the best dog toys in the world, and paper is their favorite thing. But the first thing I'm going to knit every day while I listen to my Bible reading for the day and listen to my audiobook, is my coziest memory blanket. So I have been doing that for a couple of days because I'm only just, my summer just started. It's been less than a week. But this is my blanket. You guys have not seen this before. I'm on row 4 of, I have no idea how many. I don't know how big this is going to be. But this is it so far. I am only using scraps that I have knit with as of right now. If I have minis or gifts, yarn that's been gifted to me, maybe I'll add it in. I'll decide that at a later time. But, yeah, so if you go to my Ravelry project page, what I'm doing is including what date I knit each square, what the yarn is, and what the original project for the yarn was. So this is the one that I just added yesterday. This was a pair of socks I knit for our very first foreign exchange student during the first ever summer sock camp with Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. And so it says that on my project page. And I just love that I have a record of that. And I love that I'm using yarn that I've knit projects from. So everything is fingering weight yarn except this. This is really like a sport weight or DK weight. This is a very dense square. But I really wanted this in here in my blanket because this yarn is the very first yarn. This is the yarn I taught myself to knit with. I decided on a whim that I wanted to knit. I had been reading the Debbie Maycomer Blossom Street series and was like, I wonder how hard knitting is. And I went to Michael's and I got this yarn and a set of knitting needles and a crazy difficult pattern. What was I thinking? And I knit the wonkiest coffee cup cozy in the history of ever. Functional, but very wonky. And this was the yarn that I used for that. And so when I started putting my blanket together, I was like, it's so thick. Am I really going to get that in there? And I just made it work. The needles fought me a little bit because I think I'm on size 2 and this one's like a 6 or something. But I was like, it's fine. I'm going to make this work because I want this in here. But anyway, I won't go through each of them each week, but I'll show them off. I'll show this off a little bit, but I'm just really proud of how this is turning out. I'm following the Coziest Memory pattern from, I think her name is Kemper Ray. I'm just doing exactly what she says. I'm using Addy Turbo Sock Needles, size US 2.0, which I think is what's called for in the pattern. Not 100% sure. But that's now getting some love. I'm going to work through it. I'm going to do a square a day, every day this summer. And then if I finish all of the scraps that I have before, the end of summer, I still have, even from everything that's made it into the blanket, I still have a lot of scraps. So I'm going to maybe start another blanket. I don't know yet. I really want to use up all my scraps and I really don't know what else I could do other than knit another blanket. I don't know. We'll see. So this is what I start my day with. Excuse me. This is what gets my first knitting time. And again, this is what I am, this is what I am knitting on while I'm listening to my Bible reading for the day. And I've gone back to the beginning of Craftlit, which is a podcast by Heather Ordover. And I'm reading Pride and Prejudice with her. And then I think I'm going to skip whatever second or whatever and go to, if she has Sense and Sensibility, which I would imagine she has, I think I'm going to read Sense and Sensibility next with her. If you haven't checked out Craftlit, her like catchphrase for it is, it's a podcast for crafters who like books. And she says, what does she say? If you remember, if you can't pick up a book, you can always turn one on, I think is what she says. I love it. I love that podcast. Copper and Finley. So that's what I do first. And then my second round of knitting is I pull up a podcast on YouTube. And that's what I'm kind of allocating as my 30 minutes of knitting, which is really not 30 minutes. It's however long the podcast is that I choose. So if, if I'm watching one of Knitty Natty, she tends to be more like 45 minutes or an hour. And so then this project gets 45 minutes or an hour. If it's somebody else, then, it's like Bethany of Gypsy Bird Makes. Her episodes tend to be a little shorter, closer to half an hour. So then it gets half an hour. Whatever, you get the idea. But this came from my Whips video, I pulled out my Starting Point shawl by Joji Locatelli, and I love this project. It's just a lot. It's just a large project. So since Thursday was the first day of my summer vacation. So the first day that I started kind of working through this schedule, I have finished. So when I started this, it was a make along that was going to be done in 5 weeks. I think it's been 5 years at this point, and I'm still not done. Y'all, it's a lot of knitting, but I did finish Clue, what was at the time it was released, Clue 4. So this panel, and I don't want to give too much away because it is a paid for pattern, but this panel is done. Can you guys hear Finley banging on the door telling me she's ready to go out? Let me pause and attend to the princess. Sorry about that. This is supposed to be sleep time. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Copper and Finley are wide awake. And I mean, look at how huge this thing is. They're just wide awake and wanting all of mommy's attention. So I finished what was Clue 4 of one of the panels. And so I'm trying to roll this up and show you all of it. So this is 1/2, I guess, of the project. And again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's just kind of hanging out, waiting for its friend. The other one, let me put this away so I don't get them confused, because I had to move it to a different project bag. This is a bag from the guy who sews, who is my husband. It's one of the very first ones he made me, but I was getting confused by them. So I was like, let me just go ahead and put it in another bag since it's done. So this one, I'm working through this side. I'm working through Clue 4. So I'm on this kind of like purple, for me, it's purple lace panel, which is so beautiful. And I have this much left. And I don't even remember what yarns I'm using for this, but they are on my Ravelry project page. So, and that will be linked down below. But this is all I have left. I have 8 more rows of this lace panel. I know that's not going to finish. This isn't going to be enough. And because I started this project so long ago and bought the yarn so long ago, it's discontinued and no longer made. Died. I don't know. Cascade. Whatever Cascade does to yarn. So I bought what I think is the closest to this color. This is Regal. I bought Deep Periwinkle. It should be here in a couple of days. So I'm just going to leave this. I'm not going to work on it. I've got a backup project that I didn't bring over, but if you watched my Whips video, you know which one it is. It's my Summer Lounging Tee by Joji Locatelli. When it comes, I'm going to see when this yarn comes, I'm going to see how close the Deep Periwinkle is to the Regal. And then I'm going to decide what I'm going to do. Am I going to finish knitting with this and just get as far as I can and then stop this repeat earlier? I might just join in the Deep Periwinkle and knit the rest of it with that and hope it kind of just blends in. I don't know. I'm going to wait and see when the yarn gets here. I ordered it on Lovecrafts. So when it gets here, I will make a decision about yarn. I will make a decision about how I'm going to proceed with this project. But it is so beautiful, and I am so excited that it is getting some attention and that it feels like I might actually get it finished. So I showed you the first panel that I finished. Part 1 is housed in one of my The Guy Who Sews bags. the other yarns and the second panel are in this bag, which is an Anne of Green Gables themed bag from Little Skein. Yes, Little Skein in the Big Wool. And I love this bag. It's a zipper bag. It's got this beautiful Anne of Green Gables fabric inside. It's a really great shawl bag. So, and she will be linked below because when I did my WIPs video, I looked and, yeah, her website is still active. So blanket, while I'm reading, shawl / lounging tee while I am watching a podcast. And then the rest of the day is sock knitting because that's what I knit the most of, and it's summer sock camp. So I came up with a schedule for June. I don't know if that's going to focus, but I got this idea from Nitty Natty, Natalie. If you do not follow her, please follow her. She's amazing. But I kind of broke it down by weeks. So the first socks that I wanted to work on were, I'm looking for them and they're right in front of me, are my June Desert Vista Dyework socks. I had originally thought that the colorway that I was going to use was going to be Great Barrier Reef, but I had a problem with the yarn bleeding on my hands, which I knew that if I used anything from her that had black, it would bleed, but I wasn't sure about that dark blue that's in the yarn. And it's gorgeous and stunning, and it's just me. It's not the yarn. It's just me. And I'm fine with that. So I switched to, Dollywood. That's the colorway name. And I have knit an entire sock already. Like, that's impressive in and of itself because I'm always like scrambling at the end of the month to get these socks done. And then I am past the heel on the second sock. So my goal for June is to finish this sock by June 15th, which is Wednesday. So I have a reason for that. I'll talk about it in news and life, but my goal is to finish my Desert Vista Dyework socks by this Wednesday, by June 15th, which is when this video is going to go up. What was I going to say? Oh, I just forgot my train of thought out of my brain. So my podcasting box is sitting down here on the floor and it is very full. And I just looked down and noticed that my May Desert Vista Dyework socks are down there, which means I don't think I showed them to you guys finished. Because when I recorded my podcast last, at the end of May, I don't think I was done because again, I'm always cutting it close. So these were my May Desert Vista Dyework socks. The colorway is Summer Harvest and the pattern is Cold Brew Socks by Allison of Lofty Loops. You would think from how scattered this podcast is that I have never done this before. And yet I'm on episode 10. Like, come on, Amanda. Get it together. I'm even drinking coffee and I still, teacher on summer vacation brain. That's what's happening right now. Another dog interruption. After I finish my Desert Vista Dyework socks, I want to work on my Sweet and Sour socks, which is one of my sock whips. And I want to work on my Sweetheart socks, which is another one of the sock whips that I have. Again, everything in that video from last week. So those are my June. I do have an idea for a sock a new sock pattern that I was hoping to get to this month, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll see. I'm hopeful, but I'm trying to stick to my schedule and not get super overwhelmed and have 1,000 things cast on that I can't finish, which just makes me feel really overwhelmed. So we'll see if I can get in a good place with the 3 sock projects that I have. Then you might be seeing a new pattern design coming, which would be really cool. So those are my June goals. Coziest Memories blanket, my 30 minutes of podcast knitting is going to be my starting point shawl and my summer lounging tee. I think that's what it's called. And then my Desert Vista Dye Works. Really, Copper? My Desert Vista Dye Works socks, my Sweet and Sour socks, my Sweetheart socks, and then if I can get to it, which I'm hopeful that I can, a new pattern that I have kind of brewing around in my brain. So that's June. I'm going to go ahead and do acquisitions. So if you are not, like, if you're just somebody that doesn't like watching acquisitions, just more than 5, do you? Thank you so much for watching and putting up with all the dog interruptions. And I will see you. Well, actually, let me go ahead and say this before you sign off, before I do acquisitions. So typically I podcast every other week, but this summer I'm going to try to do what I'm calling bonus content. So on the weeks that I'm not podcasting, I'm going to try to put out another video. So this past week I did my Whips Parade. So a week from when this video posts, I will hopefully have a video that goes up, my second of my bonus content, that is going to be 10 tips and tricks for knitting socks. So this isn't going to be a sock tutorial. It's going to be like, okay, I've knit a bunch of socks and this is what I do that helps me while I'm knitting socks. And I'm sharing that with you guys. So watch this space, because hopefully Wednesday, a week from when this goes up, there will be bonus content. My tips for knitting socks. Okay. So now I'm going to go into acquisitions. You'd think, you know, I don't actually, I don't think there is very much down here. That's not like, everybody's definition of very much is a little different though, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just going to reach down here and grab something. So my Yarnable box came for June. I absolutely love getting this subscription box. It is always so much fun. But I have a lot of yarn and not necessarily a huge fan of flamingos, which is what the theme was for June. So there's a mug. No, this is not a mug. Can cozy. It says, I've got 99 problems, but a stitch ain't one. There are drink stirs, which the little sticker says knitter like a regular crafter, but way cooler. And then there is a sunglasses case that says the same thing, knitter like a regular crafter, but cooler. And then, hold on, let me put all this back. Stuff. And then there's the yarn, which is this beautiful pink. There's her logo. It's called Born to Stand Out. And it's this beautiful pink with all these speckles. I'm not going to knit this. I know I'm not. So I want to give it to someone. So I'm going to gift someone who comments on this video my entire June Yarnable box. The yarn and all the extras and the discount code that I got when I bought, like, because you get a discount code when you buy your Yarnable box or when you subscribe. So comment down below. Use the word Yarnable. That way, if you already got your Yarnable box and you want to comment, but you don't want to be entered, you don't end up getting chosen and get a second box. Although if you already got it and you want a second skein of this yarn because you have a project in mind, but just comment down below. I guess, yeah, it doesn't matter because they go both directions. Comment down below with the word Yarnable. And before I record episode 11, I will choose a winner and reach out to you and send you your June Yarnable box. So there's that. That was my first acquisition that is not going into stash because it's going to one of y'all, and I am so happy to share. My second acquisition is a bag from the guy who sews. This is a fabric that my husband found, and he fell in love with it. There are, I'm so sorry about Copper and Finley, you guys. They're so crazy. There's cockatoos eating ice cream all over it. He's Australian. Cockatoos are all over the place down there. And he fell in love with this fabric. And then on the inside, I'll just go ahead and turn it. I'll go ahead and turn it all the way inside out. So I'll turn this all the way inside out. And you can see the inside is all kinds of birds eating ice cream. This is just so fun. This project bag is so much fun. So that's one of my acquisitions. My husband made me this bag. Again, he is the guy who sews on YouTube and Instagram. Finley says, go support her daddy. I keep telling him he needs to make project bags that you guys are interested in seeing him post some bags on his YouTube, or excuse me, on his Etsy store. So if that's the case and you guys are interested, subscribe, send him a message. You know, I keep telling him. Finley, are you done? Say no, mommy, I'm not done. So the next acquisition is for Sock Week, which is a knit along that is hosted by Natalie of Nitty Natty. She usually does it in connection to Discovery's Shark Week, Discovery Channel, I think that's right. Shark Week, but this year she's kind of going rogue because they don't usually announce, and she wanted to have some sponsored products and allow us, you know, the people participating, if we bought something, to be able to use it during Sock Week. So I bought a pin that has the Sock Week 2022 logo. I just thought that was so beautiful. And then this is what I really wanted, and I was so grateful that I got it. It's the sponsor yarn from Yarn Over New York. I got it on her Broadway base, which is her sparkle base. It's called Tiger's Eye Shark. And it's blue, yellow, and then this beautiful brown. And it's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. And so my Sock Week goal, can you hear them? Of course you can. Of course you can. Everybody can hear them. My Sock Week goal is to knit a pair of socks out of this yarn. And I have a pattern idea that I am going to work up with this yarn. And so, yeah, maybe by the end of the summer, there will be 2 new patterns ready to be published. This is the Yarn Over New York logo. And again, I will have her linked down below. And then, do I have a logo for the pen? No, but the pen was made by Stitchery & Co. And I will link her down below. So that's in my shark bag with my pen from last year from 3 by the Sea Designs. And, oops, I turned him sideways. And so, yeah, I'm getting ready for July 10th when I can cast on. Guys, 5 more minutes and I'll be done. Okay? I'm looking forward to July 10th when I can cast that on and have that new pair of socks, because that yarn is stunning. And I've never used Yarn Over New York before, so I'm excited to try something new. My last acquisition, I apologize for the crinkling, just came on, I think it was Saturday. I ordered another skein of Desert Vista Dye Works because I'm doing the year-long, the 8th annual monthly sock club. I don't have enough yarn to get through the year. Plus, I saw this and I was like, need it. I'm a total Anglophile. I love everything to do with England. I've never been. I don't know where this comes from, but I'm obsessed. I love it so much. And you know, the Queen's Jubilee was recent, and yeah. So this yarn is called the Queen's Hats. And look at all of those beautiful colors. And the inspiration is just these beautiful hats that Queen Elizabeth wears. And I got it on the ZN base. So it's the sparkle base. It's 75% superwash merino. Oh, I think it's 20% nylon. 5% stellina. The card says 75-25, but it is the ZN base. So it is, and you can, I don't know if you guys can see the sparkle a little bit maybe, but yeah, it's the sparkle base. I'm so excited. I'm excited about the colors, and I'm excited about the fact that it's based on, well, we call her Lizzie. I don't know that anyone else calls her that. I don't know that she would enjoy it if she knew. I'm sorry. If she knew that we called her Lizzie, but around here we call her Lizzie. So I feel like this podcast was incredibly disjointed. Like, I don't know. It's like I forgot how to podcast in the last 2 weeks. Thanks for hanging out. If you made it through the crazy with me not knowing what's going on and the dogs deciding that it's playtime when it's supposed to be nap time. I don't know. So I'm going to do some life news. Some life stuff, some news stuff. And then I'm going to wrap up this video. And I am pretty sure as soon as I finish, Copper and Finley are going to go to sleep. So the big news with me, the big news here is, well, this is going to go up on Wednesday. So the next day, that Thursday, the 16th, I am going to be having surgery. I found out in early February that I have to have a hysterectomy. So I am going in for that on Thursday. That's the part of my summer that I'm not sure how it's going to affect my knitting. I know that the recovery is longer with things like, you know, you can't lift, you know, over 10 pounds. You can't do, you know, you can't vacuum for a couple weeks. You can't do, you know, stuff like that. But I don't know how it's going to affect me, like, mentally, for whether I'm going to have the brain space to actually sit and knit. So I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to keep to the schedule, the calendar that I've kind of set for myself. But we'll see. We're going to play it by ear. And if I need to adjust any of the kind of decisions that I've made, then, or the plans that I've made, then I'll go ahead and adjust them. If you are somebody who prays, I would appreciate any prayers for both the surgery and the recovery. If you're not and you just want to send good thoughts, and virtual hugs. I would love all of the above. My anxiety's been annoying in regards to the surgery. My brain likes to remind me of all the things that might go wrong. But I 100% trust my doctor. And I know that if there was another option, then she would have told me and we would be doing that. So I'm combating the anxiety but I trust my doctor. So I will stay overnight in the hospital Thursday night. I'll be home Friday morning and then see how the recovery goes from there. Hopefully this will be a summer of knitting that I will recover by knitting all the things. That's the only big life news here, is just preparing for and getting ready for my surgery and what that means for Shawn and I, and the dogs as, I go out of commission for a little while to do some of the things around the house that I usually do, but my husband's amazing and he's ready to help and my parents are close by and they are ready to help. So I don't know how much Copper Bandit and Finley are going to kick in with like some of the housework and stuff, but any tips on how to train a dog to vacuum would be really appreciated. I'm sure Shawn would appreciate that. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there with life and news because it's big enough news for what's going on right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every like, every subscribe, every comment. I do reply to every comment. They just mean so much to me. And I will hopefully see you guys back here in 2 weeks for my next podcast. And fingers crossed, there will be bonus content next week. My tips for how to knit or how I knit socks as Finley and Copper start playing tag. I just hope and pray that your summer is going well, that you are staying cool if it's warm where you are, and that whatever you are knitting brings you lots and lots of joy. Happy knitting!